for earnings. So, what have I done this weekend? Well, went and played a lot of golf. Went to the pool yesterday. Then we actually had a trader meetup. I didn't organize it. A good friend of mine did. We all met at Duckfoot, which is a really cool little microbrewery here in Mira Mesa, where I'm at, and we had a great time. It was a pretty good turnout for it wasn't well planned in advance, and it wasn't promoted really big. So I was actually really surprised with the turnout. But a lot of the guys are newer traders, and I spend a lot of time working with newer traders as it is, right, as part of True Trader, trying to help develop traders over there. And I've been helping traders on social media, like through Twitter, or they come to me through the YouTube channel that I have. And I'm not the type of person to turn people away when they're newer. I always try to lend that hand and help. So talking with a bunch of newer traders last night, reiterated some of these things that, all traders that are new or coming into this field of work typically will experience and have to go through. So I figured it would be a good topic to kind of touch on tonight, and then we'll get into the actual prep. So I basically categorize it into three main things that the newer traders are going to face, struggle with, need to figure out the answers to, in order to further their journey. The first thing is managing risk. I know, surprise, right? It's just, it's that dirty word that everybody hates, but you have to do it. And if you don't, your broker will manage your risk for you, and that's definitely not the right way to do it. But everybody that I talk to has a general idea of how to manage risk, but there's a difference between executing that risk management well, and not doing it so well. And the difference, it can be the difference maker between somebody that is a break-even trader, or maybe still just kind of bleeding out slowly, to a guy that's actually growing exponentially because they're actually cutting losses quick and letting the winners work. And it doesn't happen overnight, but there's a lot of resources out there that can teach you guys how to manage risk. Obviously, like, I've done webinars on them. I talk about it relentlessly. I'm pretty sure people get sick of me talking about risk management, but yeah, like, that's the one of the three things that I think newer traders really, really struggle with, and when they figure that out, typically hit that stride. The second thing was throwing mud at the wall to see if something sticks. And oftentimes, a trade's going to work, and the newer trader's just going to think, I just need to keep doing that because it worked once, right? Not really understanding whether or not there's an actual edge in what they had done. And the only way to do that is through collecting the data and tracking the setups and defining a system. And when I say that, I think a lot of people think what I'm talking about is, writing an algorithm, or, making everything automated. And it doesn't have to be that way. But that doesn't mean you can have a strategy you trade where you have not defined every part of it. You need to understand what to do in every scenario and how to make plans, and that circles right back around to also how to manage your risk when you're in that setup. I mean, it doesn't matter if the setup you trade works 95% of the time. That's still gonna not work every once in a while. 1 out of 20 is not gonna work at a 95% win rate, right? So how are you going to deal with it that one time out of 20 when it's not working? You need to understand how to know when it's not working, what to do when it's not working, how to manage that risk, how to keep your risk under control, guys. The third thing was newer traders tend to want to shortcut the journey, right? They want to grow an account exponentially instead of letting their accounts grow organically. And the thing about that is that the path to consistency actually comes from allowing growth to occur organically. And that happens, one, through, if you don't force things and rush it, you have to sit for longer and have more time in the market. Time in the market is a big thing. You'll hear people refer to it as screen time. I don't necessarily think screen time in itself is the answer. We actually had that discussion last night at that meetup. One of the things I was saying is, you can stare at screens till your eyes bleed it's not going to help if you don't know what the hell you're looking for, right? So screen time's a big thing, but it has to be focused and purposeful, and understanding how to grow via position sizing systematically. I think that was really the key that newer traders tend to struggle with, is that they don't really understand the concept of position size and how it relates to risk management, and what like the correct amount to be risking on a setup is when you're learning. So you'll see bigger traders that have been trading for a long time, they will take some outsized risk when the time is right. But you also have to understand that their accounts are a lot larger, they have a lot more experience and wisdom, and they trust themselves to, if it gets a little bit hairy, to do the right thing and stop out if they need to. Newer traders haven't developed those things yet. You guys really, really need to focus on, starting small and not being embarrassed by it. Stop worrying about what people on Twitter are posting for their P&Ls, and stop worrying about, well, Trader X, is taking 50,000 shares short of whatever stock he's trading. Like, why am I only taking 100 shares? Well, because you guys aren't on the same chapter of your journey. You got to understand that those guys started somewhere, and the only way to give yourself enough runway to learn this craft and to have a chance, even a slim chance, at making this work, is to give yourself enough time to be wrong a lot. And the only way to do that is to keep your size small, keep your losses small. If you're just starting out and you're trading even like a $10,000 account, you can't be taking $1,000 losses, right? You only get 10 losses at that size. You should be taking, $20 losses, $10 losses. You really should just be focused on learning how to be consistent and learning how to trade. And this is just, those three things really, really resonate with me whenever I work with newer traders. It tends to be one of those three things they're struggling with, if not all three. So if that's you, by God, try to answer those questions for yourself. If you need guidance, you should probably be looking for a mentor. And I'm not saying, I don't need my DMs getting flooded or whatever, but like I always try to help. We're over at truetrader.net. If you guys would like to check out the community, we do have that 5-day trial. It's only $30. And that's really just to keep people from, recycling their emails and just keep coming in for free. But again, like having a